All right, Charlie.
I guess we go through the super
let's
chats.
do the
I'm
super
sure we got a
chats.
lot.
Oh, yeah, we have a bunch. Okay, cool.
I mean, the big thing happened today. I figured people would want to be involved.
I honestly just forgot about the super chats until you mentioned it. So I'm glad that you mentioned it. I need the ticker at the bottom. Now that we have the breaking news, I'm very...
You need to have your mind focused.
I'm very, like routine oriented.
Okay.
It's the only way I can keep my head straight. All right, let's start with Space Lettuce. Speaking of keeping your head straight, should we all go to Mishkov's debut on 9/22 in D.C. September 22nd in D.C. That's the
opening
the
preseason
first
game.
Preseason game. I thought it was the 23rd.
I cannot tell you that I've memorized the preseason schedule.
I'm looking to go to Chicago that weekend for Riot Fest and a Cubs game. So I believe it might be the 22nd. I forget. But yeah, that would be a lot of fun. If we get a good Flyers contingent down in D.C. for a freaking preseason game. Today was supposed to be all about Mishkov's like rookie year expectations and stuff. It's like everyone's, you do have to temper expectations. He's coming over, a whole new country. He's only 19. And it's like, we're going to fill up an away arena for a preseason game, God damn it. Like, yeah, our expectations are tempered. All right. I love it, Space Lettuce. All right. Linden49. Happy days. TK signs. Matvey Mishkov is here. Dog days my ass. I will say, as much as I had a whole other show planned today, it is nice when things happen. Yeah. Because guess what's going to happen next week? There's going to be a dead day, and we can just kind of push everything down a day. That is kind of nice. So I will say it is a happy day in that regard. But I think we spend too much time because, like, who's the most likely to say something? It's a person who's pissed off about something and is agitated and wants to send you a message. Like, a lot of fans do really like TK. Yeah. There are a lot of TK fans out there. There's a ton of TK jerseys in the seats.
He is a fan favorite, and I do believe that just as I made the argument a few weeks ago that while the online contingent is very annoyed with the lack of movement in the offseason, that most of the casual fans, and not even casual, but like just don't spend their entire lives online fans are gonna in September be like,
Mishkov's here.
Yep. Successful offseason. They got the kid. I'm excited. Let's freaking do this. It's the same thing here where while the portion of the fan base that is, are diehards that pay attention to the cap hits and, were devastated when Cap Friendly got bought. And like that crew is going to be skeptical of this. A lot of the fans are just going to be like, well, Travis Konecny is my kid's favorite player. He's going to be here forever. That's great.
Yeah, like I bought a TK jersey. Yeah. This is good. Yeah. Because I get to keep wearing this jersey, So that is like that. I actually, you know what? I'm happy for the kids that own TK jerseys because as someone who got a Chris Stratton jersey as a kid, that sucked.
And one point I do want to make, because we've spent a lot of time talking about the organizational implications. And this goes back to something that Kelly has argued multiple times, that we focus so much on the like becoming shills for the owners, being like, man, they should have got him for cheaper. I'm happy for Travis Konecny because number one, he earned this deal. Number two, like this time 2 years ago, going into the 2022-2023 season, when he was coming off of two very disappointing years, I didn't know what direction Travis Konecny's career was going to go.
That's fair.
I truly did not. He had the big semi-breakout in 2019-2020. Then he struggles in the playoffs in the bubble. Then he comes out, gets scratched within like 2 weeks of that next season, struggles for 2 years, and he really turned his career back around, got it back on track, and turned himself back into an impact NHL player who warrants an 8-year commitment with a massive cap hit. And I'm happy for Travis Konecny. He's matured a lot as a player. He's matured a lot as a person. And I'm really happy for him that he got this deal.
He's not like pandemic, not exactly prospect age at that time, but even a guy like entering his prime basically in those years and it being so fucked up. Like, I think that's the number one argument for Jamie Drysdale is like, how was he supposed to develop? First of all, like the Flyers don't even think he should have been in the NHL at that point. But regardless, it's like, how was he supposed to develop when the whole world is on fire? I think in a few years, we're going to look back at a lot of dudes in that early 20s age in 1920 and be like, oh, yeah, they didn't quite take the trajectory we thought at that time because how could they if they were children?
I mean, I've made the case like off this show to friends that like if I think we still dramatically understate the impact on our collective psyches that the pandemic years had on everyone.
Oh, yeah,
not just sports related, but just like
go walk around out there. It's like Ghostbusters 2 is like, have you taken a walk outside lately? But yeah, I'll say that was Lyndon. So Gary B is next. Gary B super chat. Love the TK extension. He should elevate Michkov's game. Thought the number may be a tad high, but it's not my money he is getting. So in Danny, I trust. That is one of those things. Like
I think that's the frustrating part about there being a cap, is that back in the Snyder days,
didn't matter.
We could just say that. Like,
who gives a shit?
That's what people say, understandably, all the time about the Phillies.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, like, you know, maybe Castellanos is making more money than he should, but like, hey,
Not my
money,
problem. Yeah.
Whatever. Like, as long as Middleton's paying the luxury tax and spending like crazy, I don't give a shit.
Not my problem.
I wish we could look at these things like that, but unfortunately, we can't.
That is, I've said this before, but there is both a tangible and intangible benefit to salary caps. Tangible is it suppresses salaries. It keeps and benefits to owners, I'm saying. It keeps money in owners' pockets. You get the quote-unquote cost certainty, as Gary Bettman would call it. But it suppresses salaries.
Yes.
The intangible benefit is that it aligns players on the opposite side of fans. Yeah. Because fans care about the team, so they are inevitably going to side with the owner. Like, oh, I wish it was a little cheaper. Like, who cares? Well, it's because of the salary cap is why you care. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that both Gary B and you, Charlie, were like, you know what? Good for him. Yeah. This guy just got, and it's not as if he wasn't making fucking anything before, but he just signed a life-changing contract.
Yes.
And that's pretty sweet for him. All right, let's go to Corey's super chat. How tradable is TK now on this new contract?
Wow. It's not even an hour.
Say in 1 to 3 years, how easy will it be to trade him? I haven't heard if there's a new movement clause.
Yeah, I don't know either. There's only so much texting of sources I can do while I'm live on the show.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I don't know if there's no trade protection yet.
There's no.
And I haven't been on Twitter all that much, so I don't know if someone else has reported. I just don't know.
There's nothing listed on Puckpedia yet, so I do not know if there's any protections. But the thing about it is, it's like the way I talk about the Sean Couturier contract. If he's tradable, that means he's still good, and someone will keep him.
Yeah,
you know, like if he's tradable,
it's a reasonable point. Yeah.
If he's tradable, then you shouldn't trade him.
Yeah, the only reason why you'd want to trade him is if he
you
stinks,
want to get rid of him,
and then therefore no one's going to want him anyway because he stinks.
No, I mean, like, unless there's a hockey trade to be made, and you get we get a number one defenseman for him or something like that. It's
always better to have the theoretical trade flexibility. Yes. That said, like, when this is, again, just me spitballing because I don't know. The contract got announced and we were on it.
It was
so like
the video was playing.
I have no time at this point to be like texting sources and trying to dig into this. But my guess is that usually when these when it's an 8-year contract with a huge cap, they usually come with some form of trade protection. So I'm guessing there's something.
I bet they've thrown around a couple of those, like, okay, this year you have a 5-team, like those are the flexible trade. There's like a trade list, but it changes year to year.
The only deal I can remember that notably did not have any trade protection that was huge was the Voracek deal. And I think the Flyers paid him a bit more to avoid giving him no trade protection.
Well, thank God we got those couple of years out of Cam Atkinson. Let's go to Eric Garner with the super chat. Hey guys, 2 things. First, does this TK extension make you think it's more likely Farabee gets moved? Second, what are the chances the Flyers sign David in 2026 if he becomes a free agent? If he becomes a free agent, I think the chances of them signing him are 420%. Now, we can go on from that.
69% might be.
Now we can go on. Do you think Farabee, whoever, like the way we say Zegras, we now say Zegras type. Let's say Farabee type player, one of the other wingers. Do you think this has down roster ramifications? Like, all right, TK is here and he's staying and we know he's staying. Are they more likely to move on from a Farabee or whoever?
The reason why I don't think so, like, Farabee might get moved at some point. It's possible. But the reason why I don't think so is because the Flyers entered this summer believing they were going to re-sign Travis Konecny. So they were, I mean, obviously they still had to agree to a deal. You never know what can happen in a negotiation. But they were operating under the assumption that Travis Konecny was going to be in their lineup for 2024, 2025, and then long beyond. So they entered the offseason believing that, and they haven't traded Joel Farabee. If it was very much we got to pick one of them, my guess is they would have been a lot more motivated to trade Joel Farabee. They haven't. So I think they very much envision a world where both of them could be on the same team, where Owen Tippett is part of this long term, where Tyson Forrester is part of this long term. Does it mean that they're all locks to be on this team for the next 8 years? Of course not. But I don't think that signing Konecny means that, oh, well, now they're going to trade Farabee. I don't think that's the case, because if that were the case, they would have already traded Joel Farabee.
It's crazy to think about signing an 8-year contract. Like, I signed a multiple-year contract here. It's the first contract I ever signed that was like a guarantee. Like, that was 2 years. Mm-hmm. I cannot imagine what it feels like to be like, I know what I'm doing for the next 8 years. Yeah. I know exactly where I'm going to be going to. That must be a wild feeling.
All right, we got two more.
Two more, and then we got to get out.
We got to run through them quick because I have to jump on a Zoom call with Travis Konecny in 7 minutes.
Oh, shit. Okay. Will Wadsworth. Dana Briere said Michkov coming now doesn't change the rebuild plan. If he scores 90 points this year, who would you want to pick up to accelerate the rebuild? Everyone. I would want to pick up. If he scores 90 points, whoever is available, go get them.
Trade for Zegras. I know I always say Zegras. It's not even that I particularly want Zegras. It's just that someone of that ilk.
He's going to get traded at some point.
Yes.
And it's a position of need for the Flyers, and we've done business with them recently.
If you can dig up another, if Ottawa, for some stupid reason, decides that Tim Stützle isn't that good, get him. Yep. Like any of those types of guys.
All right. And this last one here from Catholic Nano. Assessing future value is pointless. No one knows what is going to happen. How about we just let it play out for a few years, then make projections?
For a Catholic, you're very nihilistic.
I mean, let it play out. Like, okay, and then that's the show. Like, sorry, you have to think about the future.
GMs have to be projecting future value.
To be projecting down the line.
If they don't, they become the second half of Paul Holmgren's tenure.
And in a rebuild especially, everything is about the future.
Yeah.
The GM just said to us yesterday, we might make the playoffs, but we might sneak in. I doubt it.
Maybe.
Possible. So it's all about the future. So that's what we're thinking about. But thank you for the super chat.
We all silly like the mayor.